Just ask. Yeah.
We all have beverages.
You can
That's
ask me
hilarious.
that, and I can.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Proud to Present podcast. My name is Colton. We are episode number 24. We are with two members of Ghost Cat Attack.
Meow.
Meow.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Shoot. Episode 24, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave us some comments, say hello. We love all the interactions with y'all. If you guys have noticed, we do have our first returning guest. I am so thankful. Miss Sarah Chapman over here.
I'm so lucky to be here. I didn't know I was the first until I got here.
The first comeback. We had such a good chat too.
It was fun.
It was definitely one of my favorites. Episode number 15. Bookmark it, head over there, take over there for a second, come back, whatever you got to do. Really a good chat just about really taking Sarah Chapman's music from the new album you did, and kind of transposing it over to the live show, and yeah, that was freaking wonderful chat. But now, Ghost Cat Attack,
Full band, rock and roll.
full band. Got some really cool stuff coming up. We do have a big show coming up. Put this up here. Ghost Cat Attack recording a live EP, what we call a live album, live recording.
Yeah, we're gonna do a full album with this.
So. At Crescent Ballroom. Give me the date, time. I'm gonna hold
September 20th, and it's our very first time playing Crescent Ballroom. So we're really trying to
Super
pack the place
excited about that.
and tell them, that you guys love us.
Yes.
Yeah, please do.
If you show up to the show, you'll get a free copy of that album that we're recording.
I saw that.
All you have to do is give us your email address.
That is killer.
We'll send it to you.
Well, and also on that show, the Psychedelephants will be on there, and the Psychedelephants will come in here and they hang out with us. They're bomb. They are so bomb.
Cool band,
I was trying to think of a band that was like long overdue to play Crescent and still hasn't, and
You're so wonderful.
Yeah,
I thought
so
of
wonderful.
Woodworks, which is one of my favorite bands, and Steve Beer was a founding member of Ghost Cat.
Yep.
And they had already played it actually, and I was like, well, who do you recommend? And Solo was like, well, Psychedelephants only did like cover stuff at Crescent, and I'm like, that's no long overdue. Let's make that happen.
Well, and I don't know if he'll watch, but I love Paul very much. He's such a hardworking dude, and obviously they all are. They all have their things, but just really good people, and that's going to be such a great night.
Absolutely,
such a great night. So
I'm stoked.
So you mentioned the founding of Ghost Cat Attack.
Yes. We've had a few members over
I was going to say,
years.
there's been a couple culminations of the group. Can you kind of lead us down the rabbit hole how we got to where we are?
The story.
Yeah, the story.
So we started out with Steve Beer from the Woodworks and Jared Wood, who is now in a band called Panic Baby. They were still trying to kind of get off the ground and hadn't yet found Raquel, the lead singer, at that point. And so he kind of decided to give us some time for a while and help us get off the ground. Both he and Steve kind of got a little busy with those other bands.
Right.
So eventually we found other players. Andrea Goodian was the next bass player. And then Patrick Hershey kind of filled in here and there until we got Josh Kniezel, which is who we've got right now. And he plays in another band called What's the Big Idea? It's a jazz trio in town that plays all over.
Nice.
Very talented. And then for guitar, after Jared left, we had Manu for a while. And Emmanuel Aub is his full name. And Kaya, and then eventually we found Richard.
Nice.
So I've been friends with Richard for a while, aka I Am Hologram. He was kind of doing the one-man band thing when I met him, and I figured he had his plate full with that. But then he invited me to play with him in one of his projects. He kind of started to do more of a band, and I was like, wow, okay, let's see if you can put the shoe on the other foot.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
And he did very well. So I feel like he gets these songs pretty well, as does Jeff, who is the second drummer we've had. Lou Perez kind of got us off the ground, and then due to some health issues, kind of had to retire from drumming. So
Gotcha.
I was grateful when Jeff threw his hat in the ring for like a show, and then we were like, this is fun, let's keep doing it.
Come on back.
Yeah, it was. I played in another band called Brian Damage and the Memories, and we were trying to fill a lineup. I had heard of Sarah. So Brian, the singer of our band, his last name's Chapman. I assumed they were related. I just because they were
somewhere way back
so I was
the
like,
genealogy line, but we don't know.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, I've heard of you, blah blah blah, and then she's looking for a drummer, and I was like, hey, you want to play the show? I was like, I can fill in, whatever.
Yeah.
Just to fill the lineup out, and then
Which is very nice of you to offer to do.
Well, I like to play. I could say. And then
I think we had like one practice, didn't we?
Yeah, and we played with we played with Jake.
Yeah.
So it was a completely just random lineup of
I forgot to mention
people.
Jake Paxton filled in for a while.
Yeah.
Sometimes he subs for Richard when he's not
he's
available.
a great dude too.
Shout out to Hostile Work Environment as his full band.
So, and I just like the songs. I mean, you couldn't really capture the real vibe from what she had given me, and I was like, oh no, this is good. And then so it kind of morphed into something I wanted to do more full time.
Is it where we were together?
take me now. I think I need this. What to do? Oh, I'm stuck on you. Oh, there's something sticky in your sweetness. There's something sticky in your sweetness. There's something sticky in your sweetness.
It's what's your backstory? How long have you been doing music? I know we got all the insight from
Right.
Sarah. You know what I mean? So
Okay, so let's see. I started playing drums as a teenager. Kind of was, not into sports anymore. But I needed a hobby. That's kind of my, my parents' role in my life was like, you need to do something. And I kind of just was like, I've been this height since I was like 15 or 16 years old. So everyone kind of outgrew me on the basketball team, football team, etc. And and then I played drums. The other thing that led to that being a positive influence in my life was because I was a stoner high school kid and used to get in trouble all the time and grounded. So I was not allowed to do anything
right.
but play drums.
There you
So
go.
it was like, go home from school, do your homework. You can't, no phone, no TV. You can play drums. So, played drums kind of going on. And then moved to Arizona, played in a few bands. I mean, I can't even remember the names of these bands. It was just a bunch of, bunch of dudes meeting up kind of.
Right.
And that, from the time I was, 18 to about 25, I did have a band called Placement that was like, we put a CD out, but we were, I don't know. I'm sure there's one person in the world is
Floating around somewhere.
Yeah, I have the CD.
It's in someone's car.
It's not great, but but it's okay. It's just not for me anymore. But and then I got really disillusioned with music in general, and my life wasn't in the best spot. I kind of quit playing for a while, and then I don't know. It was about 28, 29. Started playing covers. Did cover bands for about 4 years, and I was in actually a couple really good cover bands. We had won a couple Battle of the Bands contests, so that was going really well.
Were you playing like casinos and stuff?
No, we never got that far, but we were doing like good shows and like making good money, but it just got kind of draining. Like I was just like, I stopped enjoying it, and I really liked the members of the band, but then it just kind of got to like, it just wasn't what I want to do. And then so I stopped playing music again for about 2 to 3 more years. Just, I had my drums in my house, but I wasn't really passionate about it anymore. And I might like go in and play to some, I think I had an iPod at the time. So that was, I had my music on the iPod pre-smartphone days. And then, God, must have been maybe I was 32, 33 years old. I went to Crescent Ballroom on a date, and I saw the band Driver of a Yacht Club play.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to
I
them.
was like, oh shit,
Yep.
this is good stuff. And
Definitely.
I actually hung around, and I met Henry Bernard, the drummer, and Fred Reyes. They were just 2 dudes. I didn't even know them.
Nice.
I was just like, wow. And they were super cool, and we've become kind of friendly over the time since that. And I was just like, man, you guys are fucking awesome. You've really like inspired me. So then
Definitely.
I just started practicing again and started playing. Wasn't really looking for a band. Kind of messed around. Was in a band here, out of a band, in a band, out of a band.
How'd you find Brain Damage?
I think that was a Craigslist thing.
Wow.
Really?
I think
That's crazy.
because
That's
of
how I
that.
found the last drummer.
Yeah, it
Really?
was
Yeah.
just like
That's
They're hard to
for pulling
find.
that.
yeah, I was
Why?
playing. I mean, I was playing with bands, and
I'm
I
having a bass player problem right now.
Yeah.
Bass player.
I would do like
Shout out to all
you
bass
know,
Apparently,
I-
I
come
know
find
like
me.
30 of them. So
I'd
I'll
find
you
a
thread.
band that was like 2, we'd
Please.
play like one show, or we'd practice like 4 times, and then it would just dissolve. It was just one thing after another where, I mean, and as you get up there in age, I mean, I'm not super old, but I feel like I am. But you just like,
you don't have to be that old to
you
feel
get
old.
pickier
Right,
though.
no
I'm
doubt.
just like, I feel like I'm wasting my time. Like I
Yeah.
can just tell within the first couple songs playing with a new band, I'm like, nah.
This isn't going
You know what's
anywhere.
interesting though, that you say that, because I think people a lot of times have the opposite problem. I mean, you even see people unfortunately do it with their relationships, where it's like, this isn't really what I want to do, but I don't really want to look for another band, so I'll just do this for a while, and then it's like nobody's happy and nothing. So it's cool that you could sit back and go, fellas, this is not, you know what I mean? Like this is not for me, and to be able to like,
it's never personal. It's
no,
just,
of course not.
It's just
of course
always
not.
like, I think one band I remember they took it personally because I was like,
there's always the artist
Well,
that does.
I kind of was shady though because they actually had a really good keyboard player, and I was like, you should quit this band. And
you and me need to go talk. That's so funny. Hey, it happens.
Hey, but and then they told the singer that I said that, and the singer's like, we don't want you to play with us. And I'm like, totally cool, because I don't want to play with you anyway.
Yeah. There's a dartboard with your face on it somewhere
That's
after
fine.
that one.
That's fine, because we're playing at Crescent Ballroom, and that band's not.
Ooh la la.
So, Sarah, tell me, I know that you guys did a live recording beforehand.
Yes, that one was
with
not
the last
very
lineup.
planned, though.
That one wasn't very planned.
Not at all.
And that was at a couple of different places, right?
Mostly Chopper John's. There was a few takes we took from Shady Park.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But I think the majority of it came from Chopper John's, which was the first recording. Tom Groff, really nice guy I had never met before, came up to me one night when we were about to play Chopper John's and asked if he could record the night. And I was like...
Oh, that night? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like literally while we were doing sound check. And I was like, well, can we have a copy of it? And he's like, sure. And I'm like, I guess, sure, yeah. And so that was how that happened. And then he came to another show and gave us another recording. And
that's crazy.
So yeah, I was really grateful for that. And he's the one who's actually going to be doing the recording at Crescent. But this time, he's actually going to plug into the board, which was not something he did.
So it was just a room
night.
Recording the first time, which is crazy because that was a great room recording.
It was.
It really was.
And
by the way,
especially for such a small space where the sound is very hard to control. It didn't,
Right. Well, ghostcatattack.bandcamp.com, or is it bandcamp.com/
No, I think it's ghostcatattack.bandcamp.com. Yeah.
You'll have, there's a 9-song live thing on there if you want to get warmed up for next week.
Right.
Are you guys doing any of those songs, or is it all new music?
We're going to do a lot of those songs,
do a lot of those songs. Okay, cool.
Because it's all different players on them except for
right.
me. So we felt like to kind of give like a fresh version of what we're doing right now and a better representation for people to find online. It was time to re-record that live album. It's also kind of pre-production for us before we go into the studio.
That's exciting.
To be honest, I'm completely broke right now. I can't afford the studio. So anybody that wants to be an angel investor to help us create an album, like we're taking donations. But in the meantime, this is a start for us to have something recorded with these new players who I feel like understand these songs better than anybody has.
Yeah.
Not not to say anything about who's played on them before. I'm so grateful you guys got these songs where they were, and I feel like Ghost Cat Attack really is like it owes its heart and soul to Phoenix. I too went through kind of a period where I was not writing and not playing out that much. Eventually somebody asked me to take over an open mic, and it got me to start taking in more music, kind of like you did with Dry River. And I feel like when you're in a rut with inspiration like that, it's usually because you've put out so much and you don't have anything left to give, and it's time to take something in, and then that inspires you. And that's where like Sticky Sweet came from, was after less than a year of hosting an open mic and like hearing all these other people bring me their music and bring their offering of expression of self. And so I think it's important to let yourself kind of not force things sometimes so that it can happen more easily. Well,
and it's funny that you say that, because that's kind of how this podcast started for me even. I mean, I wanted to meet some other songwriters and hear how other songwriters did their thing. And it was fascinating that like I was just trying to give back, but it's crazy how much you take in just by watching other artists do their craft and do their thing. And it's fascinating you say that. So
and dancing with others. I mean, like I've had so many people play on Sticky Sweet at this point with open mics and other things like that. And Eliza Jackson, she sat in for a while on guitar with us. And
tell us your saxophone story from last night.
Oh yeah, just last night I had this wonderful saxophone player, Steve, come up and randomly and join us. So Sticky Sweet may end up having a saxophone someday in the studio, hopefully. Cool.
You learn so much about your songs when you find someone else to play on them. You're like,
you're
hey,
like, I didn't know I could hear
that,
but that's beautiful.
Thank
you.
Waiting for that.
I actually told Sarah probably 2 weeks ago when we were practicing, I was like, you know, in that third verse, I was like, I just picture you doing that whole part in Spanish, because I was like in my brain.
I need to get someone to
that
translate
when we
that
play
for
that
me.
song, like I just feel like it should have like castanets and every. It's
Yeah.
very like Spanish to me, like very.
We had a guy two guests ago.
And
2 guests ago, I had someone who did all Spanish. I'll send him your way. He can do a feature on that.
yeah, it's just like that would be so good. It would just add another layer to it.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what are you guys playing for us today?
We did Sticky Sweet, which we were just talking about.
Yeah.
And then Dare, which is a little bit more rock and roll.
And
we
maybe,
did kind of a
just
stripped down
maybe a
like
third,
cocktail version
a
of
third
it.
secret song that
Yes.
we've been messing around with
Little-
too.
Little cover.
Cover song sneak in there.
Bonus.
So sorry. The 2 you played, the originals are
Sticky Sweet
Sticky Sweet.
and Dare.
Now, Sticky Sweet was beautiful to me. I mean, that
Thank you.
you saw me over
Thank
here
you.
dancing and trying to like
Thank
stay
you.
in my corner. What is that about? What is the drive behind that? If you don't mind sharing.
I like to tell people that it's about my love affair with Winnie the Pooh and his jar of honey.
Yes. Well, I'll take that.
So that's the official story. But the truth is, I went to some like after party after a show at Rock Bar one night
Mhm.
that went until like dawn, basically.
Yep.
And then everybody's like, "Oh shit, we should go home." And
sun's going up.
after like everyone was like jamming and stuff, and it was a fun time. And I got home and I'm like thinking about this person who I like dated for half a minute and who we were just like kind of sort of weird friends at that point. And you're drunk and you're lonely and you're like, I kind of want to call this person, and you're like, but the sun's about to come up and I really shouldn't. Like, this is not wise.
Right.
So I wrote down the first 2 lines of the song, which is, I really want to call you now, but the sun should be up soon, so I better stick to writing at least until afternoon.
That's beautiful.
And I woke up the next morning to find those lyrics, and I was like, I kind of should finish the song, I think.
Right. Do I call or do I finish the song? I think I
No,
finished
I
the
just
song.
finished
I
the
think
song.
I finished the
Yeah.
song.
I
That's
got over the
awesome.
need to call, actually.
That's killer.
But yeah.
Had enough friends. Hold me close but never let me in. Hold on tight, feel alright, but can't see their own light. The kind who need to be kissed, so they know they exist. Intimacy, points somehow miss. Don't get too real, don't let it feel. Just keep it fun, or they might run. Run, baby, run. So hold me tightly at an arm's length. Time was like happily lean on that string. So hey, then your grip till it starts to slip. Time for a backflip. See, I'm not your broken-hearted friend. Put myself together again. So hold me close, but don't let me in.
So we got the show coming up. Can we talk about who else is on this show? Who else
Yeah,
is?
we have a couple other
please.
bands that we didn't mention.
Tell us, Sarah. Tell us.
They're sort of up and coming bands. Callie Young is only 17, I believe.
Wow.
I met her a little over a year ago playing the Marquee Theater with her band Lighthouse, and I went up to her after the show and I was like, "Nice job," because she sounded great and totally owned that huge stage.
Yeah.
It was the first time I'd played on that stage as well, so like I understood how nervous that must have
There's
been.
a lot of room up there.
Then she tells me that that was her very first time ever playing with a full band. And I had no idea. I was blown away.
Some people just have
She
it.
just
Right.
has it. Yeah, like right off the I get goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like
That's
she's
crazy.
amazing. And they've kept at it, and I've seen them a few other times. I think we played the Ballapalooza benefit with them.
Yeah, we did.
And they
I
rocked
actually
it.
ran into her like loading drums in the back door,
She's
and I
sweetheart.
was like, "Oh," because she looked like she was in charge or something. I was like, "Do you know where I'm supposed to be?" And she looked at me like, "Sir,
Sir.
sir," and that's when she told me she's 17. I'm like, "Oh my god, I probably scared the crap out of her."
Right. That's
She's
hilarious.
a sweetheart, though. So I'm excited to have them. They've never played Crescent before either.
That's great.
And then the Secret Destroyers,
Yeah.
which is Lindsay Voigt's band with
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Teresa Brenneman and Alexa, I think it is. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the last name right now. I haven't actually met her in person. So I look forward to that. But
Nice.
I hear from what Lindsay's told me, she spends a lot of time on tour, which is why they don't play out as often as some bands. But I feel like they post their little rehearsals with their harmonies all the time. These three
Nice.
girls have these beautiful harmonies
Yeah,
together.
it's really, really
And
rad.
I was like, that's really
Their
cool.
Instagram
And
stories and stuff.
people need to see this. So,
Yeah.
And
kind of more pop.
I did
uh,
want to give Sarah credit too, because when we were talking about this Crescent show, we were talking about who do we want to be on the show, and so my mind always kind of goes to marketing, like
Right.
Who
Big
can we
bands,
get
everyone
to
thinks.
who that we like though. I mean, because some bands don't need the help. Some bands, we want to make this a copacetic, everyone happy. But
Right.
Sarah's mind instantly goes to, let's help our brothers out. Let's
Well,
help our
to be
brothers and
fair,
sisters
Jed
out.
Foster deserves a shout out. Bittersweet Way.
Yep.
When they debuted at Crescent Ballroom, which was a great night, by the way, they were smart enough to also invite bands that had never played there before.
That's
And
cool.
because of that, I mean, I think in some ways people cared more in terms of wanting to come out and support those bands and support their shot at this.
Right.
And I'm hoping that will work out in our advantage
Yeah.
as well. But I thought it was a cool thing that he did. I believe that a rising tide lifts all boats, and
That's the line I couldn't remember.
Sarah,
There's
Had
like
I
this-
remembered
so
that line,
freaking money.
I know.
I didn't come up with it.
I know, no,
she did
but
though.
Jason
yeah,
Campbell
exactly.
turned me on
She's
to
got a
that, but-
TM on that line, as far as I'm concerned. That's a
No,
Sarah
no,
Chapman.
but-
Well, and
ism.
it just shows.
But that's what our music community here, I think, is all about.
I was gonna say it just shows how genuinely you care about the community and the people around you, and I think that's,
It is what you make it.
yeah, and it just having you on here, I was so excited to have you back, and as soon as you posted the
Aw,
show,
thank
at first I
you.
was like, I'll post the flyer. I was like, wait a second, no, like let's sit down again, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like
And Ghost Cat's never been on.
No,
so
we're,
Yeah,
we're
well,
stoked to be here.
and
for
y'all,
sure.
you're gonna see Sarah again soon, just because that love is infectious in the community, and I think like
Yeah.
you said, I mean, the more you see it with people, even when you saying that you saw Dry River and that
Mhm.
re-inspired you to
It
play
really
music
did.
again.
I mean, and that was at Crescent Ballroom, ironically.
Yeah.
So it was like
That's
Well,
why
Well, I'm gonna
I
add to
just-
that. I
I just-
saw Wives at the beginning of the summer at Crescent. I came home and was like, "Damn, I got to add some
Nice.
songs to the
Yeah.
catalog." And sure enough, you know what I mean. They came, and it was like,
and
Yeah.
and
It's so important to let
yeah.
yourself be inspired. It's
Mhm.
not just like important to support your brothers and sisters who are playing music and go to their shows, which yes it is. And
Right.
we all need to do that
Yeah,
as much
for
as
sure.
we can, despite the fact that we're all artistic introverts and we'd rather be at home with our cats.
yes,
But also it's important for us as artists just to be inspired.
she's looking at
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
out there
Like,
on the internet.
It really is. Like I don't get the inspiration I need as a writer if I don't go hear you guys and let you inspire me.
Yeah.
And I think that like the shortage mentality of like, oh, there's only so many gigs and we better not share and like, no, I'm sorry, I don't subscribe to
cares?
that.
yeah. Well, I even had that. I was at a practice space. I was over at SER, and I was helping I was just getting rung up, and some guy mentioned the podcast and podcasting and him wanting to get started, and I was like, oh yeah, man. Here's my phone number. Give me a call sometime. You know what I mean? I'll get you set up. I'll get you going. And I had a band member look at me like, he's going to take away from your audience. And I'm like, I don't give a shit
not how it
about,
works.
like,
Yeah,
what
who
are you
cares?
talking about? Like, no, he wants to do something
See,
creative and his
right.
heart is on fire. Like
Like, this is
why
just
put it out and go, you shouldn't do that. Like,
one more
yeah.
way that the Phoenix music scene can promote itself
Well,
and
one
grow
more, yeah.
and become
Yeah.
a cool thing
Yep.
that it, like, no, let's
And-
keep
been trying to teach people,
Our
the fact that we can
success-
all win.
my
Everyone
success
can
is
win.
your success,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and vice
and
versa.
and I mean, just shoot for, like, when I saw that day, I said I'm gonna, and every band I played with up until this band, I was like, I'm gonna play at Crescent Ballroom. I'm gonna play at Crescent Ballroom.
Yep.
Here we are.
Well, and-
It's,
I think
you
it was
set
Alan Stone
goals,
for me
you-
that I
you-
saw at
you-
at Crescent
yeah,
Ballroom.
it's-
whoa,
and
now
that
hold on a
was
second.
a
I
really
was
cool
which one?
show.
Which one was that?
Years like 3 or 4 years
So
ago.
I
It
bet
was
you
before
that
I wrote
was-
Sticky, I think, or right about the time I wrote it.
Because I saw him 3 years ago at Crescent. It was he was at like a event all day, like a festival all day, and he
Huh.
was at Crescent. It was my first time going to Crescent, and
Interesting. I think it was my first time.
Alan Stone is one. It's on my
That was
top.
a
He's on my
really
top
great
5 list
show.
right now of just
I remember thinking how that venue is like the perfect size,
yes.
Yeah.
so that you can still like feel the energy
Mhm.
coming from the player,
Yeah.
and they're not just like on a jumbotron somewhere.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
I
like-
saw Kimbra there recently. I love Kimbra.
Nice. I'm sorry I missed that.
Fantagram.
Yeah. Oh,
Fantagram
yeah.
was at
Fantagram was
Van Buren,
early.
wasn't
That
it?
was
Oh, you saw it
early.
at Crescent?
Yeah, they played at Crescent
nice.
in I
only saw
mean,
them at Van
there's
Buren.
some of that
Just
was
much bigger.
yeah, I fell in love with that band.
When you find out that one of your favorite bands is going to play
Yeah.
at Crescent, you know,
It's a
like,
treat,
I'm going to
isn't
see him.
it?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to see him. Like I'm
Like
going to be
Crescent
right
and
there.
Celebrity Theater are probably
Yeah.
my two favorite
yeah,
places
no,
to go
and
see
and
a
I
band.
we saw me and one of my best friends from San Diego, Kate Nash.
Yeah.
Kate
Oh,
Nash was
yeah.
amazing at Crescent, and she even like fielded questions. She's like,
Aw,
which
neat.
was just so rad, and that's why I love that place. I will always support that place because they bring in who I want to see, and it's such an intimate thing where like Marquis cool, but it's huge, and I like Van Buren a little more because it's new.
As an audience member, I think
Yeah,
you get a
yeah.
little more out of it.
Well, and I feel like it's hard. Marquis hard because it just gets so.
it's
It's a
full
lot of
of
fun
big-
to play.
It's
Like,
just
I
Marquis.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah, she got
Don't
to
get
play
me
there. I
wrong.
don't have.
We will
that.
at some point.
I played there
Only if they pay us
3
$100 million.
times, and I feel like I've never been in more than a half full room. So for me, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just so. I remember the first time getting in there and being so proud about ticket sales, and then you know what I mean. You get in a room that big, and you're like, maybe you know what I mean. And then my voice
Splash in
is
a
reflecting off
bucket.
the back
Sure.
wall, and like you're just like, holy moly, this is a big room. Welcome to the big leagues. You know what I mean? It's epic. So, well, y'all, make sure you go check out Ghost Cat Attack. Here's the flyer.
Please
You'll
do.
see it online. We'll post it on our Instagram. We are so
Yes.
excited. You can get
Thank
pre-sale
so
right
many
now.
good
Get them now. They're
bands.
cheaper. $5.
Yep.
$5. Where is the best place to find it? Ghost Cat Attack's social
You can
media?
either go to our social
Ticketfly
media
or-
at Ghost Cat Attack on Facebook or Instagram, or the Crescent Ballroom website. Just like I think it's like crescentballroom.com or something like that. Crescent Phoenix, something like that.
I like that. Thanks for hanging with us.
Thank you for
thank you
having
for
us.
having us.
Yeah, thanks for hanging, guys.
And thanks for having this podcast.
Of course.
It's excellent.
And
it's,
support this
uh,
podcast.
and it's
because
telling me
without
about
people like you
people I wouldn't have
supporting
known
this, I mean,
either.
Yeah,
So-
well, and that's been great for me too. Is just the intro to so many great people, and
Right.
and we're getting to a point where we're gonna have a few people circle back. Like I said, I was really excited to have Sarah come be the first one, and there's some really exciting ones coming up that we're just giddy, just good stuff. So, movie recording has automatically been stopped.
oh, we've been
Interesting.
shut down.
We've been
This
cut
is the
off.
second. This
We've
is the
been
second one
shut
where you
down.
get to hear audio of me talking
the
for a minute at the end.
FCC is cut us off.
As we
could-
say in closing every week. Do you have something?
Can I give it one shout out
Oh,
too?
give it
I want to
out,
give a
please.
shout out to Matt at Music Loft Studios. That's a
Oh,
place we
yeah.
practice a
We
lot.
rehearse there a
And
lot.
he's very awesome. He's been very helpful to us all getting together. So
That's
shout
awesome.
shout out to Matt.
Shout out, Matt. In closing, as we say every week, first of all, proud to present playlist on Spotify. We do 3 songs from every artist that are on Spotify. Bundle them all up. There's really cool playlists on there. Make sure you go check that out. I don't know why I'm looking at the camera anymore because it's not on. In closing, like I said, as we do every week, just do something to make the world around you a better place. I was listening to Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, crazy combo, talking about how we like to demonize people, how we like to someone wrongs you and you like to come up with 20 reasons why they're a horrible person. But unfortunately, usually when you demonize someone, you are usually wrong. So take a second to reevaluate the situation and maybe even your own self. So
What's that whole, there's always 3 fingers pointing back at you when you're pointing at someone?
that is correct. Yes. You can't see that, but
Be kind.
about the hand
It's
down.
easy.
Imagine. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week.
Rock on.